All right, welcome you guys. This is JoJo and Yhennifer. Welcome to Warriors Arise and Mom Talk. Today we are going to be talking about business and mom systems. So if you are a mom with a successful business feeling overwhelmed with the daily demands of life, this channel is for you. We share everything that is business tips, faith, parenting tips, anything that will help you strengthen your relationship with you and your family and God, what He has called you to be. This channel is for you. If you are a perfect mom, keep on scrolling. This channel is not for you. But if you're a mom that has a business and wants to do better in life, as a mom and as a business owner, keep watching and welcome today. Yhennifer is going to start us off with her amazing tips to organization and to her business business system. So hit it, Yhennifer.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be chatting about this because, as you know, I'm in the middle of a transition with career, business, people that I'm helping and serving. And it's like on the top of my head, like all things business operations and systems. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, because this is something that I see a lot through the coaching entrepreneurs and coaching companies all over the world. Something that entrepreneurs struggle with, okay, that we need to kind of get it right from the very beginning is when to get like help, like when to hire either a VA or an executive assistant or get some kind of help, even if it's part-time. Usually in the beginning of entrepreneurship and business, when people are not making a lot of money, they'll say, oh, well, I can afford to like hire help. Like, how can I like get help? And they're like drowning in like tasks that they shouldn't be doing. So that comes up a lot in coaching. Like, when is the right time to like hire help, and like, should I hire help or not? Right. So how do you determine that? Obviously, you need to be profitable in your business. Most people, grow a business and start and get a EA or a virtual assistant and pay them before they even pay themselves. Sometimes that is just like a sacrifice that needs to happen in order for you to get ahead. If you don't have to do that, obviously we don't recommend that you to do that. But if that's the case, sometimes you got to do what you have to do. And we always recommend to hire a VA or an executive assistant part-time first before you bring them on full-time, and obviously train them your way. When we talk about like business and operations and systems, like we want to eventually have an operator, a person that is like our right-hand person that is like running the company, so that the visionary can go out there and stay in the visionary role and the strategic role and the mastermind role and the networking role, and the operator is actually doing all the day-to-day managing the teams, managing the project. Doesn't matter the industry. So this applies to every industry. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, I have a pizza shop, or oh, I'm a course creator, or it doesn't matter. This applies to that. So every business owner eventually wants to have an operator, because that frees up more of your time so you can stay in that strategic role. But what we recommend is that when you start with an executive assistant or a VA and train them up to be an operator. It's so much better. If you go out there and you go on LinkedIn and you like post a job post and you're like looking for an operator, and like a trained operator is going to charge 80, 90, 100K, 120K a year, right? And if this is your first person that you're hiring, you probably cannot afford that salary, right? So you want to start with the EA or a virtual assistant, bring them on part-time, start training them little by little on the things that you do. And then you train them up to be an operator, long term. Obviously, that's a better route financially. Also, even teaching people. Like, we've also seen that when you bring on an operator, sometimes an operator already has a mindset of the way that they do things, the way that they have done things in the past. So if you bring somebody like newer, like a entry level person, and you train them up to be your operator, they're going to be trained the way that you want them to perform with your company, with the habits that you teach them, right? They don't come with like bad habits, and sometimes they're not bad habits, sometimes they're different habits than what you need or what you're used to. So it's always good to start there. One tip though that I've also seen of like where to find these people, like there's some amazing VAs in the Philippines and like other
Yes.
countries. Like I've had so many people even on my own team from the Philippines that they are like so loyal. Like that's one of the things that I found working with people from like not in the US, whether that's like I've seen people like in other countries like Venezuela, Colombia, like South America, the Philippines, like um, you want to don't go to them just to pay them less. I do want to share that, because some people say, oh, get somebody from the Philippines, you could pay them $6 an hour. No, like you could pay them entry level US money. Like don't be trying to like you can still pay
Yeah,
you.
don't cheat the system.
Yeah, don't be trying to cheat
Yes.
them because, yeah, they're out there, but let me tell you, like even like at $10 an hour, $15 an hour admin task, that's a good range. That's like start like an entry level person in the US. Right now, as we're filming this, 2024, that's what we're talking about, okay? Because if you're watching this in 2030, it might be $30 an hour entry level. I don't know, okay? So
Makes sense.
2024, I want to put that disclaimer in there. So we have found people in the Philippines and like in South America that you could pay them 10, $15 an hour, and they could start working with you as entry level. So that is where you would start. Now, how do we train these people with like your systems and like what you have and what you do and how to take things off your plate? Because that is the goal. Like you hiring a VA or admin, it's just to take some stuff, tactical items, not strategic items, like tactical items off your plate. So how do you do that first? Like one thing that I learned from Alex Sharfin is creating a time study, like taking 2 weeks and just writing down every 15 minutes what you're doing. And it's like the most annoying thing. Like you're walking around with this sheet of paper, okay? I've done it. I do a time study every quarter. We recommend you to do that every quarter in business and writing down everything that you're doing every 15 minutes, whether that's checking your email, like, creating posts on social media, creating content, recording whatever, business calls, Zoom calls, whatever it is that you're doing, you're writing it down for 2 weeks straight. And then you grab that time study and you mark what's strategic and what's tactical. And based on what's tactical, those are some of the items that you can offload to your VA or to your executive assistant. And then the other part is that's recognizing the items, right? Like that's first, like recognizing what you need to offload. Now, how do you train them to do the thing? You would do the thing on a video, just like this. You're watching a video on YouTube, like record the video with the person. So your VA is on the call and they are creating the process, right? Like they are like taking notes, creating a process. Maybe they have a Google Doc open on the side. They're creating step one. This is what this person did. Step two, this is what, like they're creating the SOP for that specific task. And then they can always refer to the video if they need to go back to. So recording that and then having the person actually create the process saves you time because you don't have to create the process. Like that is the key.
Yes.
People think like, oh my gosh, I got to hire an assistant and it's going to take me so much time to train them. Like we hear that all.
Yes.
You don't have to like do all that. Like just make a video, do the thing that, if you're checking your emails, what are you thinking when you're going through your email inbox? Like, are this important?
Yes.
Not important? Like share your thoughts as you're going through the thing and have the other person create the process. Like that is, we'll talk a lot about business and operations and coaching and all that stuff in this channel when we talk about business, because obviously that's my jam. But
Mm-hmm.
I think like that is the most important, or the question that comes up the most. Like I'm drowning, I need help. Like who do I hire first? Like that is the person that you hire first, and that is where you start. Any feedback, any like follow-up questions you have for me that I could kind of like
So I wanted to share with that too. So Yennefer, I use Loom and I use Zoom for the recordings. Is there anything else you
I
use?
love Loom. I was just making a Loom
Yes.
right before I got.
LOOM. Yes, because it's so easy. You can record just your screen. You can record you. It can just be, I mean, like it shows it all and it's free. You download it. I think it's free anyway. I don't think you can pay for ours. I don't know. I don't think we do. But anyway, it's easy. It's fast and it can be 2-minute video. It can be a 25-minute video. It doesn't matter. But Zoom is also a way that you could do it too. You can record through Zoom and then send it over. Like if they're on the call with you, you're going to use Zoom. If it's just you recording, then just you use Loom and it's LOOM. And it's just an easy way to record. You download it and send it on over. And it's easy peasy.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Loom, I use Loom almost every single day. Okay, I have it
Yeah.
open 24/7 on my computer screen. So that is definitely a great tool. And yeah, so that is like my number one tip. So now let's talk a little bit about like family systems, and I don't know like what topics you have to cover, and we'll
Yes.
kind of chime in because people ask me all the time, like, I don't know how you do everything that you do, well,
Yes.
all the kids you have and all the things
Yes.
you
With
gotta
all
get
five.
done. So I want
Yes.
to hear your perspective and then I'll kind of chime in there too.
Yes. So that is like the number one question I get too is like, Jojo, how do you do all this? Like you do church stuff and you do like the mom stuff and then you also do your business stuff and then you have this crazy YouTube stuff and then like it's a lot of stuff, right? And I think one of the biggest number one things is, and I'm going to share my screen. Maybe I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. Okay. Let me find the thing first. Hold on, guys, just a second. I had it earlier and then I might have moved it, so let me find it real fast. Da, da, da.
I just
Sorry,
made you
guys.
co-host too. Just
You did? Okay, awesome. All right.
this is really
Here we
like
go.
live recording. Like there's
It's
no
live, guys. You get Rod. This is how we do it all, right? We make imperfect actions and we move forward. Okay. So I think it's up now. So share. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see can you see my screen, Yhennifer?
yeah. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. So one of the biggest things that I like to talk about, and this is when my husband and I used to coach marriages, entrepreneur marriages. This was like our number one go-to thing. Now, I'm not going to talk about all of it because we're not talking about marriage today, right? But I will talk about the personal home. Okay, so if you can see this, it says at the top, it says personal home, and then the little rings indicate marriage, and then business. So all of us have these little cracks that are seeping into our relationships, into ourselves, our individual things. And these are just areas that create debilitation, really. They're areas that are big stressors for us that become like our big, what's the word? Just the big problems in our life. Like you had mentioned, the systems in your business, you need that extra person, the VA or whoever, to help with those extra tasks. It's the same thing, except for here you're identifying where are the cracks, right? In your business, you see like, okay, if you're messaging people and you just don't have enough time to message it, that's where the VA would come in, right? If you're creating emails and you don't have enough time to do that, that's where the VA comes from. So identifying where those cracks are, you can go backwards and identify it in your home and in your marriage and in your business first before you even buy or hire the person. So you know that that's where the crack is, right? So I'm going to talk about the individual and the personal and the home. But instead of calling it personal, I'm going to call it a mom crack because this is what we talk about on here as moms, right? And so first of all, it's individual things. The personal mom cracks are individual cracks in your own life. So where are you regulating your emotions? What's causing you stress? Where's your mindset? What's making you loneliness? Are you having imposter syndrome? Is it that is the business stuff getting in your way because you don't have the knowledge that you need to be able to do those things that the VA would need to do? Or is it where are these cracks coming from? What is stopping you in your life? So to do this, what I usually have people do is I will have them write down on a piece of paper everything in a personal crack. So I will show this part and I'll say personal or mom crack, and they'll just write anything in that mom area. And that would be like motherhood stuff, loneliness, not enough friends, feeling like your business isn't going because you're a mom, right? Like those things that all go back to that motherhood. And then also the home crack. And those are things like responsibilities like laundry and finances and parenting. And those areas go under the home crack, right? Marriage would be things like intimacy, communication with your spouse. And then business are things like VA and where am I stuck and targets and all the stuff that Yhennifer will be talking about, right? But identifying, breaking it apart of like in these little sections helps us to be able to regulate one where our problem is. It helps us identify what is actually happening in my life. Am I setting the mood for my home by being a grump? Which, guys, sometimes I'm setting the mood in my home as a pure grump. It happens often because I get that overwhelm, right? And so if I'm mom that's grump, then I'm not really serving anyone in my family. I'm not really helping anyone out. And I'm going to stop share for a minute. I'm not really helping anyone out because I'm the grump. I'm setting the mood for my home. And it happens. It does. It absolutely does happen. And I think that's where, again, if you hear us talk about not perfect moms, like nobody is perfect. So if you feel like you're a perfect mom, like just keep scrolling through this channel because we're talking about real life here. And we're talking about the hard things, the things that people don't talk about, and the things where I see moms most of the time feel like they're completely broken inside. And you're not broken because you have little cracks that you're trying to fix, right? You're not broken because you're doing 50 things and one thing falls through, right? It's one of those things that if we can get past that mindset of I have to do everything on my own, like Yhennifer said, if we set the systems in our business and in our home correctly, we're setting our foundation and we need that firm foundation so that when the wind comes, because it absolutely will, and it
Right.
comes every single day, you don't move. right? And it helps you identify. So getting just a piece of paper, I hope this made this clear, but getting just a piece of paper and writing down individual or mom crack, and then writing down home cracks. And again, the home cracks cracks can be like parenting, and it can be like the responsibilities, laundry, chores, those things, right? Maybe it's activities after school for all your kids, right? And then the individual slash mom things are mom guilt. The how am I showing up as a mom? Am I present? Am I, where am I at? And then the business are like the systems, and marriage is its own breed of its
Okay.
own crazy
Yeah,
that I
like
like
its
to talk
own bucket. Yeah, I do
about.
want to add that even though we started this video talking about like business and the systems in business and
Uh-huh.
what you need help with, usually people come to us for like business help, and we end up talking about the personal stuff first because
Yes,
those cracks are there, right? Like the
for
cracks in.
real.
So even though we started talking here in this video about business, I would challenge you, if you're watching this, to start with the personal and the home and then the business.
Mhm.
Okay, because once you get all that in order, it is much like business flows a little bit more easier. Now, if
Yes.
is it gonna be perfect? No. Is there gonna be ups and downs? Yes. Like that is part of business. Like business is not always gonna be perfect. But if you're in alignment with your personal self, like your one self with the Lord and yourself, right? And
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
home is in alignment, then your business is easier to get into alignment, right? Like your business
Yes.
suffers. I mean, raise your hand, comments, all the things. Like if your business had suffered because you had a bad day, kids are driving you crazy, husband is like, you want to choke him. You know what I'm saying? Like when all that stuff, personal life is not like in good alignment,
Yes.
it affects your business. It affects the way you show up for your clients. It affects the way you show up for
Yes.
your customers, depending what you do, right? It affects if you're creating content, it affects in you. It will affect, okay? And I have been there. So like I can like totally relate with that. And we're talking here from like experience, right? Like we're giving you these tips from experience because we are also doing our own thing, raising a family, being a wife, being a mom, and trying to keep our sanity.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Trying to keep our
And
sanity.
still keep our identity, right? Because we do
Yeah.
business because we love business, right? When we're not sleeping at night, we're thinking either about our kids, or thinking about what can we improve as motherhood, or we're thinking about business, right?
Yeah.
Am I right on that, Yennefer? Like
Yeah.
sometimes marriage creeps into that, but not really. For me, at least, it's usually, okay, how do I need to improve as
New
an
idea.
individual?
New idea for business.
Yes. And all the ideas for business. Yes. Always have a notepad, because it always comes at night where you're like, oh my gosh, this is genius. And in the morning, when all the kids are like, mom, 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 you forget everything. So I guess that's a system in its own, is keep a notepad right next to your bed at night. Because if you're like most entrepreneurs, you just don't sleep because your mind is constantly going. And that's when all the revelation comes where you're like, do this. And it's like, oh, right.
That is so
So
true. That is definitely true. That is the entrepreneur mind. 100 ideas a day and night all the time. And I do agree with like keeping a list of all the ideas so that they don't like just go into thin air. It doesn't matter. You can have amazing ideas, but
yes.
execution is what matters. So if you can't execute because you don't remember the thing, then
Yep.
it really doesn't matter, right? Like the
Yeah.
idea, like whoever's gonna profit from that, whoever's going to get the benefits from the idea would be the person that executes. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. This was a fun video talking
Yeah.
about business operations, personal operations. Anything else you want to add,
I
Jojo?
think
That
too,
was fun.
I think too, like if you like just what you said, if you're not taking the action, then one, nothing gets accomplished. But two, if you feel stuck and you're not knowing where individually your crack is, then you're not going to be able to move forward. And
Yeah.
so identifying that helps out a lot. So that's all I got. I think this is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Make sure that you guys comment below. Let us know any questions that you have. Doesn't matter when you're watching this video. And if you could please subscribe, hit the subscribe, okay? And we will see you guys on the next video. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Bye. Peace.